Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. Learn a little bit more about the USA Games that are happening in 2022 in Orlando, Florida. This is a first time and awesome opportunity that we've been given to have IUS track and field featured at a USA Games for Special Olympics. So we're going to go through this presentation, going to give you some background, kind of what to expect from the games, what we know about the games thus far, what the expectations are for you as schools, and then answer any questions you may have at the end. I will be very open in saying that there are some things that we may not be able to answer directly right now because we're still receiving information, but we will certainly go back and get those answers for you if we don't have one right this second. Okay, just a little bit about the game. So when are they? So they are next June from the 5th to the 12th. So we will build in some additional time to travel to and from Orlando. So we're kind of looking at like June 3rd through the 12th-ish to do a like full timeline there. They will be competing at the ESPN Wide World of Sports, which is an awesome facility, obviously. This is the very first time that IUS Track and Field will be a part of the games, which will also be the largest games that to date thus far. So they are expecting around 4,000 participants for the first time ever. Lots of firsts with this games. For the first time ever, they are having not only the US compete, but they're also having some folks from the Caribbean come up and compete in over 19 different sports. So I think just in this slide alone, it kind of gives you an idea of just how big these games are. There's going to be a lot of folks there, a lot of awesome competition happening throughout this entire week. Just want to give you an idea of kind of what to expect at a games. So it's a little bit bigger than our 2.5-hour meets that we have after school. So it's a little bit bigger than that, right? So you are looking at a full week of competition, and there are events that are spread throughout the week. So for the 2018 games, and I've linked this into this presentation to the schedule for the 2018 games, so you can kind of see what that track schedule looks like. We'll send this slideshow out as well, so you're able to click and kind of really explore what that looks like. But what they did was alternate the track events and the field events every other day and kind of split up groupings of those events each day. So as you may be thinking, you're like, well, there's only so many events that they're going to have a lot of downtime. They really will not have a lot of downtime. What they do at these games is build in a lot of other opportunities for the Unified Partners, athletes, and coaches to do a lot of different things. So they have like a featured Olympic town with various activities. They schedule other events that folks can go to and do things. They are long days. They are fun days. There's a lot to do aside from just their competition. There's time built in for them to train as well while they're down there. I'm going to go ahead and just open up the schedule just so you can see what this looks like. Again, this is from 2018 in Seattle. Which was an awesome games. I was able to go. At that point in time, I wasn't on staff with Pennsylvania. I was actually part of Team North Carolina, but had a wonderful opportunity to get down there. So you scroll down there, you'll see that they have a very specific schedule that they will run by, and all the finals are direct. So there's not a lot of prelims, and they are looking to do the same thing with this game. So you'll see they alternate track and field events throughout the entire week. Okay. Then going into the event schedule, just to give you an idea of the different things that are available throughout the week. They will do a huge opening ceremonies, which is a massive deal there. They always have some sort of community events that are happening. They do a welcome days. When we arrived in Seattle, we had volunteers that were lined up at the gates for you to be able to walk through and welcome all the teams that were coming in as they were flying into Seattle. We went to, besides opening ceremonies, they did like a Mariners night. So everybody that came to USA Games had tickets, and they bussed us out to see the Mariners play, which was awesome. They'll have the fan zone. That's that Olympic town, right? So that's where they have live music and exhibitions, a lot of different things for athletes and partners and coaches to go through, and also a bunch of healthy athlete screenings. So they will have volunteer health professionals there that are doing free health screenings throughout the week. I'll give you an idea that there's a lot more to it than just going and running around the track there. So lots of things to do at the games, a lot of exciting things, a lot of different people to meet. Here's a snippet of just what events are going to be featured at these games. So these are specific to us, right? So they look a little bit different. So not to say that there might be a small shift in these, because the first thing you're going to see is there's not a mini jav listed and there's not an 800 listed. But the track events that they are currently utilizing, and for the most part, I'm going to say most of these are locked in here, is the 100, the 200, and the 400 for track events. For field events, the shot put and long jump, and the relays are our traditional 4x1 and 4x4 relays that they will do for the UCS track teams. All right, so let's talk a little bit about team criteria, because this is going to be a big thing in our planning of knowing who can comprise your team, right? So the folks that we're looking for to comprise your teams are individuals that are between 9th and 12th grade, between 2021 and 2022. So those folks that are graduating this year are not eligible to attend next summer, okay? So out of those, you're looking for 4 athletes and 4 partners. And within each of those categories, you're looking for 2 males and 2 females, okay? So you have the split of athletes and partners, and then the gender split as well underneath of those. And then we're also looking for having 2 coaches attend with whatever team is selected. All right, just going a little bit more into, as you're kind of, I'm seeing some wheels turning on some folks as they're thinking about folks that might be eligible for this. Other things you're going to want to take into consideration besides athletes and partners and gender split is making sure that all the folks that you're thinking of are, one, they're able to commit to the training and competition requirements that we have. So we will want you all to attend a training camp and the 2022 games. So training camp is spring of next year in advance. So we bring everybody from Team PA out to one location and do a training camp. Generally, that's when we do uniform fittings, get everybody to get a little bit integrated, meet everyone. Because as you guys are coming into USA games, we don't want you to just be the IUS track team from Pennsylvania. You are 100% a part of Team PA that's going down with our community-based athletes as well that are being selected to go to these games. So we are one big team. You're one team and part of that, but we all as Team PA will be going down there together. Alternates can be selected. Okay, so they only travel though if somebody drops out. So it's not that we're taking them along with us in case something happens. It is if somebody else drops, they can fill that slot. So it's just really important to have folks understand that if they're named as an alternate, there's no guarantee that they are necessarily going to the games. But always good to have that backup, right? Also making sure that they are appropriate. These are long days. There's a good bit of travel involved. We will be flying down. So if they don't have a whole lot of confidence in folks flying, they might not be the best selection. They also have to be comfortable with being away from mom and dad, whomever their caregiver may be. Not to say that they won't have time. We don't have time that's kind of worked into our days where they can be signed out and go with mom or dad or caregiver for a certain specified amount of time. But while we're down there, we're part of Team PA, we're competing in these games. It's not, hey, we flew down with everybody and now we're going to do a mini vacation in the middle of the games. We'll talk a little bit more later about what the expectations are of as far as everybody has to fly down with us as part of Team PA. But in certain instances, if a family member or somebody from the team says, hey, we're already down here, our family's just kind of going to have an extended vacation. We're going to start our vacation off of this games. We can work something out like that, but the expectation is that everybody does fly down together as part of Team PA. Okay, so as they're going from event to event, we really want them to be as integrated as part of Team PA as much as possible. They can't see mom and dad, but they're not going to be in tow the entire time. So a little bit about the expectations that we have of the team that we select. I've said this a couple of times now, but I think it's really important to emphasize is that we want this IUS track team as 100% a part of Team PA. And they are, right? So that is the expectation. That is what we are going to do for you guys, is make sure that you feel 100% a part of this team. That you attend training camp, that will be in the spring of 2022, and that you travel to the games, and as much of you guys can back from the games as well. Make sure that you're training appropriately in preparation. So we have a long time. We are planning to select the team in June, and then our official registration is due in October. That we want to make sure that we are training appropriately, and it's not just like a month before, right? So we'll work on building out a training plan for this team all the way leading up to it. So we are 100% the best prepared team at these games and make the best showing. I've already been talking to smack to some colleagues in other states of just how good our teams are. Without even having selected our team yet, I have a lot of confidence in whomever comes from Pennsylvania is going to be the absolute best representative that we can and make a really good showing there at the USA Games. We also expect that these folks work with the Team PA HODs, that means head of delegation. Those are the folks that kind of really make sure things happen for the team. I'm the assistant HOD for this team and work really closely with Bruce Bach and Mike Ermer, who are the HODs for the team. Mike Ermer is our head of delegation, so he's kind of the man with a plan and helps us work everything out. But we're going to need whatever team this is to work with us on making sure we're meeting registration deadlines, any other administrative deadlines we have, and getting information to the games organizing committee and any logistical needs that we may have. Okay, so we're going to have to keep a lot of communication really open. We want you to have everything that you need in being prepared, and we're going to need you to help us out to make sure that we have everything that we need, that we can have the best games possible. So what can you expect from us as far as support? That you are going to have very, very dedicated heads of delegations and a leadership team that is ready to support you 100%. We have a families coordinator and a logistics coordinator that's going to be helping in providing information to families that things are coming out, because they'll have specific events and opportunities for families at these games as well. And the HODs will be working with each of the individual teams on any needs from selection to coming back from the games. We're really going to be your go-tos and giving you everything that you need. A huge bonus to this is all costs, including travel, housing, uniforming, and provided meals, will be provided by SOPA for training camp and the games, all of that. So that won't be at cost to the school districts at all. Little bit about the timeline. So where are we at, where we're going, what can you guys expect? So here we are on our info webinar. On May 14th is when we are going to need an interest form due to us. And I'll bring this up here in a second, just so you guys can see what it looks like. June 4th is when we are planning to make the official team selection, right? So right around the end of the school year, we'll be able to tell you what school is going. October, this next deadline, is when we are going to need to know who officially is going. So that June timeline isn't when you have to tell us who you're planning on having your roster. We will shake that out and have to turn that in October. Okay, so we have some time to figure those folks out. In spring of 2022, we have our training camp. That traditionally falls between that March, April-ish timeline. And that's when we bring everybody together to train and get to know each other a little bit more. And then in June of 2022, we'll take off and we will have the most awesome time ever. I can tell you that I've been to 2 USA games in the past. This is probably the one that I'm most excited about. And I don't know if it's the IUS track and field being added to it, but they are doing a really good job of adding some really exciting elements that I'm really thrilled to see and ready to see kind of executed here. So let me bring up for you the interest form that will come in the follow-up email for you. We're really looking for some basic information here, but there's also a link to the USA Games webpage if you want to click on that and see what else is going on there. We're going to ask for a contact, name of the school, who's submitting it, what your role is, if you're a coach, if you're an administrator, if you're a club liaison, just so we know who's submitting that. And also need to know if you've discussed it with your administration about applying, because there definitely is some commitment that is needed from whomever is applying for this. We may follow up with those folks just to make sure that you have all the support that you need from your administration to make the full commitment to everything that's required as being part of a selected team. Just understanding that you know what the split is for those that are selected and that you're able to make the time commitment there. You're also able to just plug in who. You don't have to have it set in stone. It doesn't mean that whoever you put in here is the absolute couple of people that you want to have going to these games. So if you can put down who you would recommend as who those coaches and chaperones may be. And also tell us just a little bit about why you think your team would be the best IUS team to represent Pennsylvania at these games. Then as always, any of the forms that we send to you, we also let you have that opportunity. If you have questions, you're able to plug those in there. You also can reach out to us, and we're happy to help answer those questions so you feel, as you apply, that you have all the information that you need to do that. All right, so if you ever want to find out some more information about the USA Games and just find out some more of the dynamics of what is happening there and what they've got planned, they are putting a ton of information up here all the time. I've just plugged in the website so you're able to jump in there at any time that you want to. All right, so we will open it up for questions and see if we can give you guys any answers here. So feel free to drop them in the chat box that we have below. And myself and Mike Vivino and Michelle Boone will do the very best we can to give you the answers that you need here. And Michelle, I don't have access to, oh, there it is. Ah, there we go.
Lauren, first question just came up. How many chaperones are allowed to join?
So what we're asking for on that form is for you to drop in 2 of those chaperones. Give us 2 names of who you would select to go to that game. Those games, excuse me. If there's specific needs, if there needs to be another chaperone, we're probably going to want to follow up just to kind of understand a little bit more about what that specific need is for an additional chaperone.
And I think just for clarity, it's just 2 adults, right? So we always, so whether that's coaches, whether that's chaperones, you know, you can choose who it is. I mean, clearly we would want someone there who's a coach and who's familiar with track and field, but it's 2. So there's not additional chaperones outside of the coaches.
Do the coaches have to be 1 male and 1 female? A team has a question. If their 2 coaches are already females, do they need to find a male coach?
Yeah, so good question. So we're looking for some more clarity on that specifically. So that's why in that interest form, we kept it very generic of you list who you would recommend for that. And we're doing the follow-up to get the hard and fast answer of what's set in stone as far as the gender of those 2 coaches there. There's a number of teams really good teams that could apply that fall into that category. So that's a good question there.
And Lauren, to clarify, that's a USA Games clarification. So that's not a Special Olympics Pennsylvania requirement. That's why Lauren was saying we need to get more clarification from the USA Games organizing committee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike.
Sure.
If a team does not have 4 female athletes, are they automatically out of the running to be continued?
Shannon, no. But I saw your name on there. So under that athletes, it's you get 2 athletes, 2 female athletes, 2 male athletes. Okay. And then under the unified partners, it's 2 male unified partners, 2 male or 2 female unified partners. Okay. So you're good to go because I have seen your roster.
Would a school be able to pay privately if there was another administrator that wanted to attend outside of the 2 coaches?
Yeah, they can. Their spectators are welcome. These are in open games, so if they want to go down, I would fully support that and encourage it if they have the means to go ahead and go down and support their team 100%.
Yeah, and I'll add to that quick. So we are allowed to bring people that are considered like additional support staff. So there are some potential slots for that. As Lauren said, any of those funds would just need to be 100% covered by the school. So, and if we put them into a role like that, they would stay with the delegation. They would eat with the delegation. You know, they would really truly be a part of the delegation as opposed to coming down on their own, getting their own hotel room. And things like that. So there is an opportunity for individuals to come down. You know, if you say we want to bring a 3rd person, there is some potential opportunity there, but we would require the school to pay to fully fund that.
Is there a nurse available at all times for someone who requires nursing care, or does the school need to bring their own with them?
So Team PA will have, I will say this, Team PA will have a medical staff that is going with the team. That medical staff is designated for the entire team. So they're not designated to one individual person. So our application is out for that right now. So I would just kind of be interested on what those specific needs may be. One, to ensure that that person might be the most appropriate for that type of travel, and then kind of go from there.
That is it so far in the chat box.
Yeah, and if anyone thinks of any questions after the fact, I tend to be that person that I like to stoke things up, and then 5 minutes after something is done, I have 12 questions about it. If you happen to be one of those people, don't worry about it. You can absolutely shoot us an email. We will also, your respective liaisons will be sending out this presentation along with the recording. So you'll get the recording and you'll get the PowerPoint slide and you will get the interest form. The interest form is also linked into the presentation that you will get. So you'll have access to it in a couple of different routes. So that will be coming to you by tomorrow. So you have two full weeks to have that interest form filled out if your school is still interested in applying to be selected for that.
Just one more thing to clarify, Lauren. Training camp, I know Lauren had mentioned that a few times throughout the presentation. So that is a weekend. So it goes from Friday to Sunday. So you would most likely travel to the location at some point after school and then would sleep 2 nights and then head back on Sunday night.
Yeah, thanks for that clarification, Michelle. That's important. Okay. All right, I think we are good to go. Actually, are you seeing anything else that we need to address right now?
Just a note about if a team is selected, how much it would cost for an additional person, if that's something we could give to that team, you know, by the end of the school year.
Yeah, so I can just tell you an estimate of kind of cost per person on our end. So again, that would include flight, any training camp expenses, general wear gear, so that the team gets outfitted in a bunch of gear going down there. That cost is approximately $1,000 per person. Again, this individual may not need all of those things. The cost for additional staff to come and be housed and meals and kind of be part of the delegation on site is $900. So I would say at max, that total cost would be $1,900 if they're looking to get kind of all the bells and whistles that each of the individuals that are part of the delegation get.
Thanks, Michelle.
All right. I think that covers us. You said if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We definitely want to keep very open communication for those that may need some more clarification after this presentation. We look forward to seeing everybody's interest forms come in, so we'll have a very hard time making this decision of which team that we select to go to the USA Games. There are a great amount of awesome teams that would be great representatives of Pennsylvania. So look forward to seeing those come in. Please reach out if you have any other questions. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing all of your interest forms come in by the deadline of May 14th. So thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. We will talk to you all soon.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Lauren.